So many things go into making a movie good. Performances from the actors, directing, cinematography, the score, millions of other things. If even one of these things goes wrong, it can make a movie bad. That's why so many movies out there today are considered bad. But that doesn't always mean they aren't enjoyable. Today, I want to talk about bad movies and why I love them. The first thing we need to talk about is the suspension of disbelief, also commonly just known as shutting your brain off. To enjoy a movie, there's a certain amount of disbelief that we're willing to let go to enjoy the experience. For instance, if you go to see a Superman movie, you're not generally going to be sitting in the theater unable to enjoy the movie because real people can't fly. Most movies you watch require some level of this in order to enjoy your time. However, some movies may require a little bit more to enjoy. If you're going to sit down and watch Monster Hunter, you probably aren't going to expect it to be on par with The Godfather. Likewise, if you are able to overlook some small grievances here and there with movies, you can end up having a much more fun time. Sometimes we put way too much stress on our brains, and letting it rest and just enjoy some ridiculousness is often exactly the therapy we need. It can be fun to just shut down logic and enjoy the pretty colors or explosions. The important thing to do is consider your expectations. For instance, don't sit down to watch Monster Hunter and expect it to be a full 10 out of 10. But if you can overlook some bad acting and some weird logic, there's still plenty of fun to be had.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
So let's talk about what makes a bad movie. There are several categories of bad movies out there, so let's start there. There's so bad it's good, where a movie is terrible but it's funny or laughable because of it. There's cult classics, where a movie is considered to be bad and panned critically at release, but over time it finds an audience and becomes beloved by a group of people. And then there are just truly bad movies. Movies that leave you feeling worse or in a bad mood after you watch them. We're going to be focusing on the first two today. I could go through a list of the movies on Rotten Tomatoes that have a low critical score but a high audience score, or movies that have both scores low but people anecdotally love them, but we both probably don't have an hour to waste right now. Now, it's important to remember that ultimately movies, as with most art, are a subjective medium, so your mileage may vary. However, a lot of movies out there that are generally considered to be bad are still fun movies if you just don't put too much thought into them. Some movies are fun to just turn your brain off and enjoy a dumb ride. The movie Venom currently has an 80 audience score and a 30 critical score on Rotten Tomatoes. Clearly, people who review movies for a living found many faults with it, but that doesn't stop people from enjoying a fun movie. Now, don't get me wrong here, Citizen Kane, it's not, but it's still a very competent and enjoyable movie. Most people really resonated with Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock and found the movie to be overall a good time. Talk about movies with almost anyone, and I guarantee there is at least one movie they love that most people hate. Some movies just hit home with you, and there's nothing at all wrong with that. One of my favorite movies of all time is Starship Troopers. It's an incredibly fun movie, and really, really fun to watch. But let's be honest, it's not the greatest movie ever made. Likewise, Pacific Rim is another movie that I absolutely love, but come on, it's not a great movie. Now let's talk about the other kind of bad movies. Cult classic movies are an interesting thing. A movie comes out and for some reason at the time it just doesn't resonate with people. Maybe it's ahead of its time. Maybe it sends a message that isn't agreed with at the time. Maybe it's just not a great movie for any number of reasons. Where this becomes unique, however, is when people suddenly take an interest in the movie sometime after its release. Maybe some of the jokes suddenly make more sense. Maybe the message resonates more with what's going on in the world. Maybe some weirdos just decided to make it their thing. There's an endless list of what could have happened, but the important thing is, it did happen. Now, a group of people love this movie for one reason or another. Some will have viewing parties or just talk about the movie all the time. Some will dress up as characters from the movie and go to showings. Some may even throw spoons. There are many examples of this kind of thing. The Rocky Horror Picture Show was mostly panned at its release, but a few years later, people were going to midnight showings while dressed up as characters and singing along with the movie. One of my personal favorite examples of this is The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. See, when I first saw this movie, I was just a young lad. I didn't really get it. I just thought it was a dumb B-movie and moved on. But I saw it again in my 30s, and now it's a movie I absolutely adore. It's just so over the top and ridiculous, but it leans into it. It doesn't take itself too seriously. I honestly wish more movies took that approach. Just know what you are, and generally some people are going to find enjoyment. At the end of the day, it's all about what you're able to enjoy watching. If you start a movie and nothing you can do will let you enjoy it, then it's fine to stop watching that movie. But if maybe it's only a little bad and you can overlook it, or if it's terrible but you can enjoy laughing about it, then you might just end up having a good time.
Oh, hi, Mark.